Peace, what's going on, man? So, we're sitting here, we're chilling, you know what I mean? And my man Darren hit me up and he told me that the Bill Cosby verdict is in, and it's actually on the screen right there if y'all can see it, you know what I'm saying? We see now that Bill Cosby's been sentenced 3 to 7 years in state prison. And the brother, almost really cried, man. He really cried, and I know a lot of people want to say, "Oh, you guys are insensitive right off the bat, and he's this and he's that." But some of the points that the brother was making right off the bat, that he's 81 years old, and I want to know what y'all think. People that's gonna come in and watch this, but the verdict is in now, and I'm not gonna say that I'm sad. I'm not feeling that type of emotion. I didn't have that type of connection, but we did come up watching the Cosby Show,
Yeah.
and it's more so of a legacy now, that's being destroyed. But saying, man, what's your emotions on this whole thing? You was on the phone. I was talking to Darren on FaceTime. He was pretty much saying that he took it to heart for real.
Yeah, and it's 3 to 10 years. Oh God, not 3 to 7.
Okay.
It was 3 to 10 years for drugging and raping.
Okay.
The lady who he was in question with. It's my immediate emotion is I automatically kind of go back to our grandparents and the people who brought us up on watching the Cosby Show, Different World, Fat Albert, the Cosby Kids. We all know the legacy that he brought on Hillman and just
Word.
black empowerment and how they probably right now wouldn't believe this is true.
Word.
You know what I mean?
They definitely wouldn't.
They wouldn't believe this is true.
Right.
And I kind of feel for the people that grew up loving him and admiring him and have to kind of go through this. I feel for them right now. We talked about it numerous times on the podcast. We talked about Jennifer Lawrence's perspective, the mother of Black Hollywood. She was on the Breakfast Club. She talked about it and what she said. We talked about him and how he almost kind of said some things that he shouldn't have said, maybe in guilt. So I think I'm saying all this and saying that we were very objective. Although we grew up in a Cosby household, we grew up admiring him, and we still do. We were very objective in the situation, throwing out offense and being objective in all areas. I don't think that this is a situation that is surprising.
No, not surprising.
Given the couple of years that we've known what was going on now, we definitely felt like he was going to receive jail time. I don't think anybody walked into today, not even Cosby himself, expecting to not walk in receiving jail time.
Right.
I think a lot of the stigmas that they put on him, putting him as being a child predator, the rape charge, I think that's a bit extreme.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit slanderous on his name. You're giving a brother, he's sitting in state prison probably for, like Darren alluded to, for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Even with 3 years on good behavior, he's 81 years old with bad health. The likelihood of him, hopefully, God praying he could get out of there alive and see daylight and air before he passes on, but it's iffy at this point. So I think in that regard, just the terrible stigma they put on his name with the predator, child predator, rapist, he's a threat to society now. I think that's a bit much.
Yeah, man, that's it's messed up, and this whole situation, is definitely crazy, to see that. And you put it, very well when you talked about, our grandparents, us coming up, us watching it, and our people, us kind of like even molding our families, you know what I mean? Kind of like after that, and it was like, after that, it's like you seen like, the stuff like, go downhill with the type of black programming, you know what I mean? It kind of, you had your programs that were good, they went to the Different World, then it kind of went to the ratchetness all the way up to what we got now. So it was like, that was only like one of the only positive images that we had, as black people now. A lot of it right now is a lot of coonery, a lot of buffoonery, and just a whole bunch of just, bullshit at the end of the day. It's not uplifting for the children. I want my kids watching that type of stuff, because we are influenced. For some reason, it seems like we're more influenced, by the images on TV, the rappers, etc., more than, the doctors and the lawyers. So definitely, I can see how both people can be affected. Now, you have the other people going to say, well, what about, the so-called victims and the women here, and you guys are insensitive about that, and, he did admit to this. So what do you say about that whole aspect?
I think that, like I alluded to, throughout our commentary on this situation, that we were very objective in this situation. Never one time did we ever condone rape. Did we condone drugging a woman? Did we condone doing anything against anybody's will? especially a man towards a woman. We know how sensitive that subject is. We're both men who were raised by women, are very prideful in that, and would never cross that line. But we have to be objective in what we do, and we pride ourselves at the Uncensored Truth podcast in doing so, and being very objective, although it may not be the most popular thing. So a lot of the argument that we brought up is why now? We brought up the question of now. This man is very old in age. It's it just seemed like it was a weird situation on why all of this news was coming out now. And then a lot of people throughout the comments and things like that schooled us and kind of gave me a new light on why women come out a little later on being uncomfortable, fear of being blackballed with him being in a position of power, all things I understand. I definitely do. But it just seems as though no matter what, it's a pattern that goes on with a lot of black celebrities, especially ones in power, prominent black names, where it just goes to higher ends and farther ends for our names to be destroyed. And I only say that because, with all due respect to anybody out there, the woman who just came out and said that she lied in the vicious murder of Emmett Till. I forgot the young lady's name. I forgot the woman's name. Please leave it in the comments now. Right. The woman's name, who came out and just said she lied. Now, we all seen the images of Emmett Till. I showed my son the images of Emmett Till and what they did to that boy, and based off of a lie. And how is that not conspiracy to murder or accessory to murder? How is it not?
And even go further, let's talk about the meme that you posted on Viral Hip Hop News. Go check his Instagram page out right now, and his YouTube page. You already know where it is. Yeah. I ain't got to point you out to that direction, but you posted the meme up with Bill Cosby. I think it was Harvey Weinstein, Mike Lauer. And we can go down the list of the Caucasian gentlemen who none of them were convicted, but they all had these different allegations. And it was like, man, it kind of, when people put the picture up, it kind of like, whoa. Speak on that whole aspect a little bit. We're not gonna be here too long, just real briefly. You know what I mean? But we'll touch on that though, real part.
Well, we talked about it on that too. We talked about it on the podcast, and it was funny. I said, now we better see your Matt Lauers of the world, your Harvey Weinsteins of the world start getting convicted, because if we don't, then we need to start making some headway. We need to start making some noise. I see somebody real vaguely in the comment section talking about Jennifer Lewis. We talked about Jennifer Lewis. Y'all got to go back in the playlist of the Uncensored Truth podcast, because you'll see our discussion. Yeah. We've covered this,
yes, sir,
from top to bottom. We've been on this since it went down. We talked about D.L. Hughley's perspective. We talked about Jennifer Lewis's perspective. We talked about the victim's perspective. We talked about Cosby's perspective and how he may have been wrong, and how his legal team was wrong, and how somebody was messed up in the fact that they didn't, school him on the correct things to say. So we've covered this top to bottom. But you talk about your Weinsteins and your Lauers and things like that, and it just seems as though there's kind of a hush among some people in the higher ups when it comes to these certain kind of situations, and certain things get brushed under the rug. Now you have it's a very interesting discussion about the current president of the United States. We won't get too deep into that, but you see certain people that get convicted of the most nonsense of crimes. You see certain people getting away with it. Now we can have our debates back and forth about the business aspect, and we do, and we both agree on that. But it just seems as though there's a fine line that gets drawn, and like
it's there. Yeah,
it's 100% there.
Yeah.
And the signs are blatantly clear. When you say, all right, he's a rapist, child predator, threat to society, as an 81-year-old blind man, it's like, man,
it's a little crazy.
You ain't reaching a little bit.
Yeah. Nah, man, I definitely agree, with everything said there. So yeah, man, if you're just tuning in, the Cosby verdict is in. He does have to spend anywhere from 3 to 10 years in state prison at 81 years old. This happened 20, 30 plus years ago, of something that happened. So yeah, man, you decide, in the comment. I can't read it from here. You got better eyes than me.
Yeah.
I put my glass on to read from here, but yeah, definitely, man. So the verdict is definitely in. Everybody watching, please hit the like button and make sure that you share this video. Also, if you're interested, in the Hip Hop Uncensored mentorship program, that link will be in the chat room, in the description box. You can sign up right down below me for more information. What they talk about in the chat room? Anything useful?
They get busy. They probably on the same sentiment I am. 3 to 10.
Okay.
Uniquely designed assets to recap. You just did that.
Right.
They just feeling the same sentiment we are. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Shout out to everybody out there watching. We got a real nice fan base out there watching right now.
That's dope. That's dope.
But yeah, man.
So yeah, man. Cosby, you know, the end of a legacy. I think Felicia Rashad, you know, she you know, said something that I think that was real dope. She said, yeah, you know, not excusing anything and not really speaking to the exactly what happened, but saying what we're kind of saying now is it's a bigger picture here. Is now you're destroying a man, a legacy, you know, an image, you know, for our community. That was great and positive. So we just got to do our job, you know, as young men, you know, young black men, to rebuild those images, you know, and when we get into those arenas, to make sure that we, you know, when we're able to put films and stuff out there, that we do the right type of film to show people, you know, the right type of thing. So we need those type of images in our community. We can't have everybody, you know what I mean, on a quote unquote nigga shit.
I mean, when you talk about the influence that Bill Cosby brought on, when you look at black television, when we remember, what did we grow up on? I remember growing up on the Cosby Show, Different World,
Family Matters.
Family Matters. Then I can even go even deeper to your New York Undercover, Malik Yoba, and the Spanish brother, I forgot his name, but like even top to bottom, our television was like just real in-depth, informational, and empowered. You know what I mean? And then it seemed like in a society today in 2018, the dumbing down, and then they want us to even almost forget all of the positive that we had going on, because there's no doubt about it. I mean, throughout this trial, I believe the Cosby Show has been on and been running. I think numerous people have checked, we've checked, and we've seen it on. I doubt it's going to be on now.
Yeah, it's probably a lot of places going.
They're about to shut that down. So they're about to see a legacy be erased, and they got the job done. It looks like.
Yeah. So you know that's our perspective here. Thank you for watching. You know, a little addition to the Uncensored Truth podcast on Hip Hop News Uncensored. We got a lot of positive things going. You know, for the people, we're gonna be rocking out tomorrow night. We got a lot of good events, but you know, go ahead, man, and do what y'all do. We are out of here today. This your boy Oh God. Sitting across from me, Sandman, CEO, Viral Hip Hop News. Peace to everybody, man. Sign up for the Hip Hop Uncensored Mentorship Program, too. That link is right below us. Also, in the chat room, Brother Darren Marion just dropped the link. And you can subscribe to the podcast also, Uncensored Truth Podcast. Right now, go ahead and hit that button for us, family.
You have a blessed day, too. Have a good one.
Peace. Appreciate y'all for listening.